Let's check in with our reporters from across the country, but let's start in Cape Town. Mariska Botha, who is monitoring the return of Matric learners to class. Mariska, a very good morning to you. Was the return smooth?
We are in Parrow in Cape Town at the moment, and yes, the return to this school year has definitely been smooth. We know that there's about 52,000 learners that are registered for the Matric year across the province, and a little bit later we'll hear from the department as to the figures of those learners that have returned to school. At this school particularly, there's 215 Matric learners. You just hear the bell going off, their schooling is happening. And 140 of them have returned to school. Some have comorbidities and are staying home. Others are in quarantine at the moment, but those who could return have returned to school. And I must say, usually children drag their feet when they have to go to school. But this morning we saw excited children coming to school. And I'm speaking to you with a little bit of sadness because we spoke to two of the Matric learners a little bit earlier, and the amount of pressure and anxiety that they live under is immense. And they say that there's a misconception about this generation just wanting to be on their phones the whole time. They actually do want human interaction. So it's definitely a very, very difficult time. But at Parrow High School, they've made a plan. They've immediately started working on exam papers, old exam papers. They hit the ground running as soon as the subject was finished. In terms of the workbook, they immediately started working on old exam papers. So here they feel very confident that the Matrics of Parrow High School of 2020 will successfully write their Matric exam.
Yeah, we always say, keep your social distance, but maintain the social connection. I guess it's easier said than done when these Matrics really need to reach out and get all the support they need, not only from their immediate family, but also friends as well. So it's a difficult spot that they're in. With regards to, how was the break? What sort of stories are they telling you, or did you discuss it with them with regards to, did they relax during this break, or was it revising for certain subjects? What sort of break do they have?
They didn't have much of a break because these children are experiencing very high levels of anxiety. They said, they told us, they're watching the news every night to hear, is there an announcement? Will the school open? Will it be closed again? So for them, it's a very anxious period. And the few pupils that we spoke to certainly buckled down and did the work. And while they say that e-learning is helpful, which the school adopted from the start, like, for example, the teachers record their lessons that they give, which is then available on the school's website so they can look at it again. For them, they prefer to be in class and be in contact with the teacher to be able to ask questions and to get clarity on matters. So certainly it was an anxious time, this week's break for them, because they say the uncertainty is definitely getting to them as to how long this part of the school year will last and whether or not there will be a closure again, because they do want to be in class in front of a teacher.
Mariska, this e-learning, it's not one size fits all. I mean, as a parent, I struggle sometimes to keep up with some of the things that my grade 3 is doing on online. And so it's balancing,
Indeed, yeah.
It's balancing work, your work, and then balancing their work. Sometimes you wish they could get back to school. Opening schools is easy. Keeping them open is the difficult part. I want to get a sense of what's happening in your community there in terms of the spread of COVID-19. We know that the WHO says schools should open when community spread is low. What's the feel in the community now at this stage?
Well, the principal we spoke to a little bit earlier, Amanda Creer, told us, please keep the schools open now. And every pupil that we saw here came in with a mask. Their temperatures were taken. They were screened, all the questions, the standard questions you get everywhere now. So this school is definitely trying to remain open as long as possible. We have seen out in the communities, like the teacher said in the package you played a little bit earlier, some communities are simply not adhering to these regulations. No mask wearing, no social distancing. But these teens that we're speaking to certainly understand that. And they say that's one of the great difficulties for them, is that connection that you were speaking about a little bit earlier as well, that they cannot have that interaction anymore. So that they certainly keep it here at school. What they do at home, when they go home, is a different story. And I think that is the great thing that schools have been grappling with. At the schools, there's strict guidelines and regulations and rules, but what happens outside the school gates really is dependent on the attitude of the people themselves.
100%. Mariska Botha, live for us in Cape Town. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. Be well. All right.